If this works, it'll be a freaking miracle. I swear to God. Please let me know right away if you can hear me in the chat. I have had the worst day trying to solve sound problems all morning. It's driving me nuts. It's always something, ain't it? It's Thursday. Maybe that explains it. The Trump admin is killing the most annoying car feature that good old President Barack forced on us drivers. It's over. Thank the Lord. And I got a personal vendetta against this particular thing. The next subject is MMIGW2SLGBTQQIA+. Yeah, that's really a thing. And Melania versus the Mean Girls. All that and more coming up this morning on the show. Hello, welcome in. Happy Thursday. Glad you joined us. Great to have you along for the ride. We are live on Rumble and we are live on YouTube. The Jay Sheldon Show on both platforms. Just take a look. Give us a subscribe or a follow if you would be so kind. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. It goes a long way to letting other people know about the show and help the algorithm, give them a little kick in the ass. Good morning, Danny. Good to see you in here. Okay. So, the Trump admin is eliminating Obama-era off-cycle credits. What's that? Well, those credits incentivized automakers to put that stupid, moronic, freaking idiotic start-stop technology in your car, effectively killing what a lot of drivers consider one of the most annoying feature in modern cars. We have a car here, which is made by a Proton. Is it Proton or Produa? It's called the Myvi. Hugely possible. My partner has one, and this thing has that. This economy mode, where when you are stopped at a light or something, the car shuts off. Now, it supposedly instantly starts when you take your foot off the brake or hit the gas. But I'm sorry, in a lot of instances, milliseconds count. If you got to get out of the way and you are short even starting up that car by 1 second, you're too late. This is the dumbest freaking thing ever invented for an automobile. It's gone. No more. EPA admin Lee Zeldin highlighted this victory yesterday, building on the February repeal of the 2009 endangerment finding. Shared a Wall Street Journal article highlighting drivers celebrating the demise of the most hated feature in their car. He mocked the technology as an Obama admin climate zealot participation trophy. He said the start-stop concept in vehicles is almost universally despised. So the Trump EPA has now removed the ridiculous climate participation trophy the Obama admin created to get this hated feature installed on your car. The incentives for manufacturers to make your car die at every red light and stop sign have now been eliminated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Journal reports 58% of new gasoline non-hybrid cars have these universally despised systems installed by way back in 2004. They've been out there for a long time. Or they had to. Start-stop engine control, hands down, an absolute abomination. It is a mess. You own an F-150? You hear that thing shut down and then start back up at red lights? What a shame. How shameful is that? Fellow drivers will point at you, they will laugh. The air conditioning, yeah, forget that once the car shuts off on a hot summer day, sitting at a stoplight or a traffic light. Yeah. You want your air con gone? Welcome. Thank you, Barack Hussein Obama. The vehicle ever so slightly lags before moving forward after you do hit the gas. You need a split second to get going. This is what I'm talking about. The aircon fine will deal with it. Some aircon units will keep running even if the engine is off. My problem with this is it puts your life in danger. Like I said, even a split second of delay from you taking off, if you need to get out of the way of somebody, could mean the difference between your life and your death. Good riddance. White House, very effectively, I might add, captured what it's like to drive one of these vehicles and stop at an intersection. Sometimes I half expect to look in the rearview mirror at a red light, see my hair turn blue. But this is a classic. Watch this. Leaving auto stop in the dust. I love it. October 2012. The Obama EPA finalized the 2017 and later model light-duty vehicle greenhouse gas emissions and corporate average fuel economy standards rule. Yeah, that's the actual name of this stupid bullshit. Part of that package, the agency created off-cycle credits, regulatory incentive that let automakers earn compliance points towards stricter GHG emission standards by installing certain fuel-saving technologies. One of them was the idiotic start-stop feature. Automatic engines eligible for those credits. Adoption by manufacturers, huge rise and spike in its adoption after those credits kicked in. They want the credits. I don't blame them. Less than 1% of the new gas non-hybrid engines in 2012 got to 58% in 2024. Never mind that real-world savings proved modest at best and inconsistent at best. Many studies showed only marginal gains in typical driving, especially once frustrated owners simply turned the system off. There is an off button. You can bet it's off in our car. They should have explored it. They should have tested it. They should have realized that absolutely nobody wants it, and they should have killed it with fire. Burn it. Zeldin EPA, thankfully, are doing figuratively doing exactly that. No more forcing gimmicks on the public. We are tired of it, and we are not going to put up with it anymore. Under the guise of environmental value. No, that ain't working, pal. Sorry. Environmental value. Give me a freaking break. Morons! Every last one of them. It's gone. It's done. Danny, I can't imagine that in a truck like my husband's, he's so loud, every time he starts up I pee a little. I can't imagine every time he would have to stop. Yeah, that's not a visual I think I would I would want to share. Thanks. Oh man. Once again, Israel, whom I don't know what it is with these people. We told you a brief details of this story yesterday, questioned whether or not it was true. Sadly, it appears to have been true. And the world is reacting to this ridiculous, brutal, ruthless, evil attack by Israel on Lebanon after this U.S.-Iran truce. The attacks by these scum killed over 200 people and wounded over 1,000 others, according to Lebanon's health ministry. Israeli forces carried out that devastating bombardment across Lebanon, killing literally hundreds of people, civilians. Hours after a 2-week ceasefire was announced, Lebanon's Ministry of Health said at least 203 people were killed and more than 1,000 others wounded in airstrikes that targeted areas in Beirut, the Bekaa Valley, Mount Lebanon, Sidon, and several other villages in southern Lebanon yesterday. Israeli army said the attack was its largest coordinated assault on Lebanon since it started a new military operation in the country on March 2nd, targeting more than 100 Hezbollah command centers and military sites. Well, guess what, Israel, you freaking idiots? You missed, and you killed civilians. Happy? Proud of yourselves? Scum. Call it what you will, folks. This has nothing to do with the Jewish faith. This has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. This has to do with one little piece of shit country in the middle of the Middle East who, for some reason, and I still can't figure out what it is, people a lot smarter than me also can't figure out what it is, has complete control over this country. It is not a Jewish thing. It's an Israeli thing. And yes, exactly, Danny, why are we defending them? Your tax dollars are sending them guns and missiles and bullets and drones, keeping them very well stockpiled. It's likely some of our bombs are what was used to kill those civilians in Lebanon. And for some reason, I don't know why. Man, I wish I did. But like I said, a lot smarter people than me have perplexed over this. They have apparently complete control and can do whatever they want. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. All right, let's get off the subjects. Let's get on to something else. How about this? You ready? MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. That's from the Canadian government. They just dropped this absolute monstrosity. And no, by the way, it is not satire. Listen to this crap.
Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+. This is abhorrent. Deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA+.
What the F is that? That big long list of letters, like we don't have enough, right? It stands for, I hope you're sitting down and taking notes, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual plus people. The acronym, which is apparently very commonly used in Canada, highlights the disproportionate violence against Indigenous women and all those other people, guiding a national action plan for justice. Look, I'm all for fair and equal treatment. Whatever your thing is, if you're an adult, knock yourself out. I don't care. I really don't. Honestly, if you know me well enough, you know I really don't care. But this bullcrap, exactly how many more letters are we going to add to this circus? It isn't going to stop. It's not going to stop. I promise you. Insane. But you know what's not insane? A good hot cup of Blackout coffee. The best on the planet, my folks and friends. You got to get yourself over to Blackout. Use that link down there in our show notes. And yes, their Easter sale is still going on. In observance of Easter, Blackout Coffee's got 20% off coffee, gifts, and bundles, and that discount is applied automatically when you go to checkout. Now, if you are a first-time buyer, you use the code J20, and that will get you 20% off your first order. They only roast your beans after you order, ship them out within 24 to 48 hours. If you can't grind your own beans, most of their very popular blends and roasts are all available in ground. They will grind them for you, so no problemo. This is an American company that works with local co-ops and American farmers to grow the best beans on the planet. They roast them fresh. They ship them out. It is full-bodied, full-flavored, strong coffee that is never, ever, ever bitter. It's an American company. John Santos and the gang over there believe in all the good stuff you and I believe in. Blackout Coffee, their sale is going on. In fact, check this out. There is a sale on all these items, including, yes, they do pods, cold brew, instant coffees. They've got all that. And flavored coffee, of course, some of the most amazing flavors you will find anywhere, every one better than the next. Don't forget, too, a coffee subscription, which is a brilliant idea. You don't have to go back every month and place another order. You just sign up for a subscription, save 20%, free shipping, switch flavors whenever you want, and you can skip or cancel whenever you want to. Get signed up. The link is right there. You use that link in our show notes and scroll down the page. You'll get there. Look at those pods. Blueberry crumble, cinnamon French toast, chocolate cherry. Woo-hoo. My favorite, pitch black espresso. Yummy. Absolutely fantastic. All these great folks, including the Jay Sheldon Show, part of their partnership program, and we really appreciate being associated with a great brand like Blackout Coffee. Thank you, John and the gang over there at Blackout. Great to have you as a partner here on the show. We really do appreciate that, and it is what I drink every day, all day, morning, noon, and night. Oh, yeah, thank you. All right, how about this one? A new Antifa-linked plot is calling for political revolution and a Green New Deal. Heard that one before? This just in, which is goblin speak for anti-fascist, Antifa. subversive group of domestic terrorists, insidious, determined, generally evil. And now a First on Fox exclusive from their writer Andrew Mark Miller has revealed some Antifa plans for this upcoming May Day. Now, you may not be familiar with May Day. Historically, it's been kind of a Labor Day for communists since at least the Bolshevik Revolution. That's rather interesting because a revolution is exactly what Antifa is calling for in this little missive Mr. Miller has uncovered. A far left activist group with ties to anti-ICE protests, Antifa and broader left-wing organizing is openly calling for a political revolution and a sweeping overhaul of the American system that includes pressure on college campuses, according to newly obtained training materials for Antifa. Slides from March 2026 Sunrise Movement membership meeting that it was obtained by Defending Education lays out a vision to structurally change the foundations of this country. That's a quote. In pursuit of eco-socialism and multiracial democracy. The internal presentation outlines what the group describes as its grand objective, including the passage of Green New Deal legislation. We all know what an absolute cluster joke that is, dismantling what it calls the billionaire two-party system. Sounds a lot like they're calling for a revolution. These are, remember, people who find violence to be a perfectly acceptable tactic. They don't mind. But wait, there's more. In a slide called On the Road to Revolution, the group outlines the top 3 goals of Phase 1. Here they are. Stop Trump's grip on power. Build up to mass non-cooperation with protests like May Day. And use the 2026 midterms to build towards electoral breakthrough, win big. Phase 2, which takes place in 2028, they say includes mass strikes, huge, historic 2028 turnout for our candidate, biggest tentpole of masses against Trump and his billionaires. And Phase 3, political revolution, planned for 2029 to 2031. And Phase 4 in 2032, beyond 2032 and beyond, is called the new system, which the presentation says will include happiness. And that, my friends, is an absolute recipe for an insurrection. Now here's the real question. What do they, Antifa, intend to do if Phase 1 fails and the GOP wins the midterms? What happens if Phase 2 fails and, say someone like Vice President Vance gets elected to the Oval Office? Now, there is a silver lining to all this mayhem and madness. They cannot achieve the goals they've laid out in this 3-phase plan. They just can't. There aren't enough of them. For one thing, maybe 1,000 nationwide, being generous? Their agenda, as it's laid out here, way too extreme to get any political victory. They don't even have enough people to take over a country the size of the U.S. Not with millions of armed Americans, I might add. A lot of them military veterans, and they are scattered across this fruited plain. Another 2020 summer of love with the commitment deaths, injuries, billions in property damage. That, with a healthy heaping help of useful idiots, that's something that they likely could pull off. And in a staggering example of fouling their own nests, watch for those sorts of events to start in the big blue cities. Not in the least because most of these goblins think their jurisdictions are more likely to get away with it. Sadly, they might be right. Keep your eyes open, folks. Always, it's not over. You've got to keep your head on a swivel, especially when you are in public places. If these nuts decide that this is their moment, we may be in for yet another long, hot summer. It could happen, sadly. Again, a story that I don't want to share, but you need to know these things are going on. An illegal immigrant pastor. An illegal immigrant pastor sexually assaulted a teenage girl. And now his lawyer says he's served enough time. Time to let him go. Look at this scum. That's him. Isn't that nice? Illegal immigrant with a rap sheet, long as your arm, is accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl at a Kentucky church while serving as her pastor. Mexican illegal immigrant Jose Lopez Hernandez, 52 years old, snuck across the border at some unknown time before somehow he wound up landing in Covington, Kentucky, where he became a pastor and proceeded to use his position to lure young girls, according to the Department of Homeland Security. He was ordered last month to spend 2 years in prison for his crimes, a 10th, a 20th of what it should have been. His attorney said his 862 days of time served credit covers his sentence. Should just let him go. They first learned about this scum in September 2023 after they got a report of the abuse at the Ministerio Jesus Liberta Church on North 9th Street. Lopez Hernandez asked the then 14-year-old and her cousin to come to his office when they were attending her church with family on a Sunday. The Mexican national illegal pastor eventually told the girl's cousin to leave the office and asked the 14-year-old girl to stay with him, according to this report. The pastor then locked the door and began abusing the girl. She eventually pushed his hands away, left the office to go tell her dad. She had a bruise on her neck, which was consistent with, quote, aggressive kissing, end quote. He then fled back to the sanctuary state of California, ain't that nice, for a mission trip. Skipped his return flight. Covington police learned he didn't plan to return and notified the FBI. He's got to now complete a court-ordered treatment, register as a sex offender for 20 years, and stay away, obviously, from the now 16-year-old victim. 2 years? Are you kidding me? And get this. Before his latest arrest, He was previously released by police in Kentucky after 2 arrests for theft, forgery, reckless and careless driving, according to DHS. Oh, yeah, he's done enough time. Plenty. Time served. Have a nice life. Go back out on the streets. Abuse some more children. Disgusting. Do you own a business? That sounded like the start of a commercial. It's not. It's our next story. You gotta be a little bit careful that you don't have a disgruntled employee. This one in a California warehouse was very upset over the low pay. So he filmed himself saying, "Pay us enough to live," as he set fire to the warehouse. 175 firefighters responded. He is now faced with charges of arson.
Should have paid us enough to fucking live. You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
He's actually filming it as he's setting fire to this warehouse. And you see the pictures on the right? That is the warehouse eventually fully engulfed in flames. 175 firefighters it took to get this fire under control. He is, as I says, now charged with arson. Good. Good. Irna Zarutska's mural is back in the news again. But it's good news. That Rhode Island mural of Irna has found a new home, which is fantastic. And guess who's not happy? Yep, the usual suspects. When we last left this story, Providence, Rhode Island leftists were having an absolute meltdown over a mural of Irna Zarutsky that was being painted on the side of an LGBTQ club in the downtown area. The opposition, led by Democrat Mayor Brett Smiley, who called the mural divisive and asked that it be removed. The club, strangely enough, I don't know why they ever decided to do this, but they decided to comply. The Democrat owners of this club frantically tried to assure the community they were not, in fact, Trump supporters, and ultimately just caved into the woke mob, had the unfinished mural taken down. Well, the good news is it's found a new place to call home. The project finding new life on the side of a Lebanese restaurant, Opa the Phoenician. Artist Ian Gaudreau returned to work Friday night, days after his original mural was ordered to be removed by the owners of the Dark Lady LGBTQ plus nightclub, and it was moved to Federal Hill, which was facilitated by the owners of Opa the Phoenician. An immigrant-owned business, restaurant's leadership said they felt a personal connection to Zarutska's journey. How nice. Co-owner Francois Karam said the restaurant wanted to step in after the downtown plans fell through And this is the artist and his team working on that mural. When was that? Tuesday. So just a couple days ago. Take a look.
This crew, Arena mural number 2. You know what to do.
All right. Good deal. Nice painting, too, by the way. And yes, the mural is not being funded by Musk, any other mega-type donor. Not surprisingly, the supposedly tolerant left of Providence are doing their thing. Instagram post this past weekend. Karam posted a screenshot showing that Oprah had received 6 new 1-star reviews. However, they got 34 5-star reviews. One woman yelled out of her car she couldn't wait for the building to go up for rent. Karam said another person put a sticker that said a trans person peed here on the door, though security footage indicated they didn't actually urinate on the building. According to the Providence Journal, Karam maintains the experience has been mostly a positive one and good for the restaurant, and from the sounds of things, he is not the type to be easily persuaded into taking it down, which is fantastic news. And just goes to show that sometimes the good guys, even in these blue bastions of twistedness, win. Bravo for you. Fantastic. What a good piece of news. And we're going to follow that up with a story about the man, the scum, who killed Irina Zarutska. He has been found incapable to proceed to trial. I won't celebrate that mural too fast. We all, myself included, remember how we recoiled. I have to this day, nor will I ever watch that video of her murder. This horrific attack. I mean, what hasn't been said about it? Completely unprovoked. If you've ever watched the full video of the attack, I feel sorry for you. I highly, highly recommend that you do not. It is something that will burn itself into your brain and never go away. You cannot unsee it. The latest developments in this case: her accused killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., a serial felon, has been determined to be incapable to proceed to trial on state murder charges. The deranged homeless man accused of butchering Irina has been found incapable to proceed on state murder charges, according to a motion filed April 7th, just a couple of days ago. He was evaluated December 29th at Central Regional Hospital, and the subsequent report determined he was not competent to stand trial. Now, a judge is going to determine whether they will accept the report's findings. We can only pray, and I don't hold a lot of confidence or hope in this situation. A judge could say, yeah, fine, but I'm not buying it. Send him to trial. But the chances are these days, with the kind of judges we have on the bench, that ain't going to happen. The real outrage is that he was free on cashless bail to attack Zarutska on a written promise to appear, no less. almost certainly not worth even the paper it was printed on. Brown's own mother accuses her son of having severe psychological issues. So this is where things are right now. This is where things are in the state charges that DeCarlos Brown Jr. faces. He, however, does still face federal charges, and that effort is still proceeding. So we will keep an eye. We will let you know. Danny, the club made, talking about the mural, the club made it clear they're not Trump supporters, so basically they won't want it known that they're okay with murder. Kind of, huh? Because this isn't about Trump. You are exactly right. It's not a Trump thing. It's about her life being taken by this scum. Thank you to Biden's open borders. Exactly. How about this piece of crap? A candidate for the Attorney General of Texas is trying to force towns in Texas to greenlight development of Muslim Sharia cities, cities where Sharia law would basically apply. Republican Texas State Senate Senator, who is now running for Attorney General, this is a Republican, once authored a bill that would strip local governments of their ability to block religious housing developments, including the creations of Islamic cities. Mays Middleton filed State Bill 854 in January of last year, pitching a solution to Texas's housing shortage. It would require municipalities to approve multifamily or mixed-use housing projects built on land owned by religious institutions. Limit locals' ability to stop the development. According to the bill, municipalities would have a purely ministerial duty to basically rubber stamp projects while exposing municipalities to lawsuits if they tried to block the construction. So this would empower, listen closely, churches, synagogues, mosques, and other religious groups to use their land to benefit their communities, aligning with their mission to serve those in need. So technically, or exactly, a group of Muslims who may or may not be radicalized could open a mosque and in their area around the mosque start a community and put the whole thing under Sharia law. And trust me, you don't want Sharia law. But let's take this a step further, shall we? According to the wording of the legislation, a satanic cult could buy a place, put up a temple, put a statue of whoever, the great Satan, in the front yard, start their black magic rituals and start praising Satan. You like that idea? They'd be perfectly welcome to do it under this law. Other religious groups to use their land to benefit their communities, aligning with their mission to serve those in need. See, you just don't think this shit out, do you? Idiots! Sharia law is bad enough. Let's get those devil-worshipping Satanists in there. Let's give them a place. Why not? Welcome to the neighborhood. They don't make it easy these days, do they? Look at this gorgeous woman. That is our First Lady of the United States of America. I can only pray I look half as good when I'm her age. I'm almost there, by the way, about another 10 years to go. But this story is about Melania and the Mean Girls. So, putting politics aside for just a minute, whether you love Donald Trump or you hate him, I think no one would argue that Melania, his wife, is an absolutely beautiful woman. I don't know her personality, but on top of that, she comes across as very intelligent, passionate about the things she cares about, particularly children and the challenges kids face, which makes me love her even more. We can also all agree that women can be very catty when it comes to other women's looks. Nobody wants to be the ugliest girl in the room. And I can only imagine it must feel that way when you're frumpy and dumpy and you're standing next to Melania Trump. It just goes without saying. The First Lady, good bit older than me, but she looks amazing. Now, I realize she's a woman, I'm a man. We have differences. We age differently. But trust me, there is no way I'm going to look that good when I'm her age. I already look older than her. We like seeing what she chooses to wear at different events. I'm far more interested in watching her interact with kids, sick children in a hospital, talking to people who just lost their homes after natural disasters, interacting with former hostages. These are the situations in which Melania truly shines. Sadly, other women just don't seem to be able to put that aside. Initially, I thought it was all politics. They hate Trump, so they hate his wife. But I'm beginning to think they're just being catty and jealous. That's got to be what it is. They're frumpy and dumpy, incredibly shallow, and they can't stand to be outshone by Melania's absolute beauty. Some of the latest examples, Meryl Streep, former Vogue editor Anna Wintour, apparently promoting the new movie Devil Wears Prada 2. They had a conversation as part of this month's Vogue cover story, which if you read it, you will probably have to go take a shower or bleach your brain. It was the most pretentious, hoity-toity crap that's ever been printed. These women need to get out of their limos and touch a little grass. Or maybe Artemis 2 can grab them and bring them back down to earth tomorrow with them. Anyway, the Melania bashing began when filmmaker Greta Gerwig, who is conducting the interview, posed the question, do you think about women who are meant to dress to communicate power? And because of all the things going on in the world right now, this is important. So Wintour responded by propping up the women one admires Michelle Obama, Rama Dawaji, wife of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani. You know, the one who cheered on Hamas October 7th. Remember her? He uses racial and homophobic slurs on social media. You remember, right? Yeah, that one. No, Anna, one does not admire those women. At least one with a brain doesn't admire those women. You think about the women that one admires. Mrs. Obama, Michelle, or maybe Michael. Wintour said, whether she's wearing J. Crew, Duro Olowu, or Matthew's Blazy Chanel. She always looks like herself. I'm in full admiration for New York City's first lady because she looks so cool, wears a lot of vintage, young, modern, and is also entirely herself. And then she added, to be fair, Melania Trump also always looks like herself when she dresses. There's no explanation, no breakdown of what she wears, just a blunt statement that came across as an insult and was presumably meant that way. Streep said she had so many thoughts about this, brought up one particular outfit Mrs. Trump wore in June of 2018. You will likely remember this. She said, this is Streep, Meryl Streep. I think the most powerful message our current First Lady sent was in the coat that said, I really don't care, do you, when she was going to see migrant children who were incarcerated. Yeah, nice try, Meryl, but let's add just a little bit of context to this. The coat she was referring to is that one right there. And as Streep said, it was green. It said, I really don't care, do you, on the back in big letters. At the time, Mrs. Trump's spokespeople said the jacket didn't mean anything. Melania herself eventually did a couple of interviews, said it was aimed at the MSN, the mainstream media, other left-wingers who criticize her nonstop. She said, I wanted to show them I don't care. You can criticize, you can do whatever you want to say. It will not stop me to do what I feel is right. Bang on. Go for it, Mrs. First Lady. I have a feeling this First Lady is far from being humiliated over this story. She's got a lot more to do and a lot more going for her than Streep and Wintour put together. She's too busy doing things that actually matter, like reuniting Ukrainian children with their families, helping bring justice to people who use AI to abuse and stalk women and children. Yes, she is out fighting against that. Far more important things than to pay any attention to a couple of washed-up old women with their noses in the air. The mean girls. Boy, ain't that the truth. That's it. We're done. It is a Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday. Yay. I'll be back again. Please help to support this show. We do need your help, and you can send us a donation straight up through PayPal. The link is down there in our show notes. Excuse me. Any amount. $5, $10, $50, $100, $500. You really feeling crazy? That would be a nice surprise, wouldn't it? All right. The PayPal link is there. Also, all of our great sponsors, Blackout Coffee, Patriot Mobile, NordVPN. They're all ground news. They're all down there. Check them out, make a purchase, and help support this show. I will be back again tomorrow for the Friday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Time to grab the rope.